At the peak, this North Scottsdale home was valued at over $1 million. Tomorrow, it's on the auction block after sitting on the market for months. The starting bid, $329,000.
S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index showed a decrease of 18.7%. The co-creator of the index says this decline may continue for some time.
This time next year, I think housing will be on a positive trajectory, and of course, that's a big plus for the economy.
Mixed bag on the real estate front today, with housing starts falling to their lowest level since 2009 for December, while building permits.
Well, the areas that are going to be more depressed for longer would include the areas that have been hit hard with foreclosures, the obvious areas like Florida, Arizona, Nevada.
You have to look to really kind of read the tea leaves as to where the housing market is headed.
Good afternoon, Arizona. My name is Steve Rundle with Dwellings Realty Group.
I'm Sean Ybarra with Praxis Credit.
How you doing, Sean?
Doing good.
Good. This is your AZ Real Estate Radio Show here every day, 4 to 4:30.
It's getting hot, isn't it?
It is getting warm, isn't it?
It is getting hot.
It was, you can. Obviously, it's radio, but I have some nice coon eyes on my face from wearing some sunglasses over the weekend. We weren't even in the valley. We took the kids fishing. And,
where'd you go fishing? There's no water in Arizona.
There's water in Arizona. There's water property, and we'll get into that. We went up north to just east of Payson.
Okay,
and it was really nice. But you get up in that mountain air, and you don't realize it's hot and sunshine. So you end up getting sunburned.
I
Lesson learned.
That's what sunscreen is for.
I didn't even feel it. It was nice and cool. It was good to get out of the valley for a couple minutes and enjoy the nice cool air.
I don't think they do this anymore, but when I first moved to Arizona back in '99, it was on the news. They would give you your daily recommended sun dosage, and it was never more than 8 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm in the sun all the time.
I was just gonna say I'm leaving after the show to go show some homes. I'm gonna be in the sun for probably about 2 hours.
Exactly. So I'm assuming that's why they don't do it anymore. But
I'm sure that's fear and panic in people, especially our winter visitors here.
We don't have any winter visitors here right now. They're definitely gone.
I have some the clients I'm showing today. They're from Washington. They're looking to purchase a vacation rental. They say it rains 6, if not 7 days a week. That's why they're here. They're enjoying the sunshine.
Oh, I can imagine. That's part of the reason why I moved here was because of the sunshine.
I agree. I mean, I'm from Ohio originally, as you guys know. That was the majority of the reasons why. It's the sunshine, it's the weather, it's the beautiful mountains, it's the great real estate, it's it's everything. I mean, if California fell off tomorrow and we had a little bit more oceanfront, that would be the best case scenario for me.
Exactly there. So.
Well, Sean, listen, today I wanted to talk a little bit about market and values. Yesterday we talked some questions, and we're probably going to get into that a little bit more as well. But, from the perspective that we were talking yesterday as how to choose or questions to answer when you're looking for a professional, let it be credit repair, let it be lending, real estate. And I mean, even for us, I know Andrew has a lot of contacts. I know you have a lot of contacts, and we do as well. But, everything from insurance, we cover the whole gambit of services when it comes to buying a home. We have to, because these are individuals that we work with every day. Let it be home inspectors, let it be insurance guys who have to put home insurance on the home. Anything that comes across our desk, we usually have a pretty good referral that we can send out to you. And I think that's important. And that's not something we get anything from as much as the satisfaction that we're sending our clients to someone who needs service that we can trust.
And a lot of that stuff gets confusing in a hurry. I mean, I know.
It does.
Especially the insurance part, because I don't really get the insurance part on how much coverage do you need on an investment property, how much you need on this. It's more in my world of, can I afford this with the payment?
That's correct.
I can afford this. But now I was talking to an investor that opted not to put insurance on a home. He said, I'll do it next week. He had the house situated, taken care of. Somehow the electrical system in the house was there, and it burned to the ground.
Are you saying that was a bad investment?
I was going, It did what?
Oh my
He
gosh.
goes, yeah, it burned to the ground. And I was like, well, you had insurance, right? He goes, no, I didn't put it on. I was going to put it on the next week.
Wow.
Because I didn't really need it until then because I didn't have any renters in there.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I don't know what to tell you on this. You need to talk to an insurance guy. Hopefully you've got a good one that can help you out here and have some kind of liability coverage.
Well, and that's
that.
it. I mean, determining what is enough liability coverage. And, we talk about first-time home buyers. We talk about sellers. We talk about buyers. They all have 3 different agendas. And so sometimes, picking the right policy or from an investor standpoint,
maybe paying a little more is worth it.
That's it. Is because
Versus
you
paying
are
a
an
little
investment.
less.
It's maybe not just homeowners insurance that you need, but it may be more liability because you have 3, 4, 5 other properties that if something happens at this properties, that may open you up to some additional liabilities. And so maybe there's an umbrella policy that needs to get in place there for that additional coverage. And first-time home buyers, they may not have much moving from an apartment. And I'm not an insurance professional per se, but I've dealt with a lot of insurance guys, and we have a great insurance guy that we work with who helps us out with a lot of this stuff. But, people think, oh, hey, I'm moving from a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't need much coverage on the interior. Well, that's not necessarily true because now you're getting into a situation where if you own a home or own a condominium, you own all the interior. So that means all the appliances, which you're not thinking in your head, hey, look, I own appliances. Those it could be $5-10 worth of stuff, cabinets, carpet, all this stuff now that you own that is considered your content insurance.
Home inspections as well, same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
May the outside, the cosmetics of the house may look perfect, staged correctly.
Right.
Everything is you're enamored with the whole thing. But guess what? You've got problems with the AC unit, or you've got problems in the roof, or you've got problems elsewhere. That's where those guys come in.
I can honestly say when I show homes, I've never walked on top of a roof to look at it. Now, we can look with our eyes, but, a home inspector is going to get up there and say, hey, look, and if it's a tile roof, he'll do his best to get up on a ladder. Some of the guys that we use, they use binoculars, and they'll get as nitty-gritty as they possibly can with looking at those tiles, especially, what we run into these days is a lot of bank-owned homes have been sitting vacant that have tile roofs, but they've been sitting vacant since October of last year when we had all that hail damage.
Oh, exactly.
They're still
You wouldn't even have thought of that.
You don't think of it, but all of a sudden, no one thinks, hey, hail, damaged roofs, concrete tiles, that's never going to happen. Well, it happened, and it happened in a big way in October. And so a property that's been sitting vacant for 6 months, which is a huge thing, or not even sitting vacant on the market. A lot of this inventory that's sitting with banks that they haven't put on the market yet, they're not watching it. That's a big thing that comes up these days is, look, this is destroyed and now it's going to get replaced. Who's going to fix it?
Right.
And a good home inspector is going to be able to go up there and say, hey, look, you got 10 roof tiles that are all cracked up and missing, or the flashing's wrong, or, someone installed it backwards and, you got water that potentially is breaching inside the property. Those are important. And if you don't have someone that you can trust and who knows his business, they're looking at this stuff. It's not always best to go for the cheapest guy who's offering the biggest discount.
Right.
Go for the guy who has the experience and has good testimonials or good referral base because he's the guy that's been in business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Exactly. Now we are scheduling. We've got a couple scheduling conflicts on these, getting some of these guys in studio.
Definitely.
To get this knowledge out as well.
And we're going to have some of these guys in
here soon, I believe. Maybe within, again, we're having scheduling conflicts on where everybody can get to us. We're not the easiest time to get to it unless you're in traffic driving home. So
that's right. Yeah, unless you're driving about 3:30, it's an hour ride at least.
Exactly. So we're trying to get some scheduling scenarios fixed on that, but we will get these people out to you as well so that they can really hone in on a lot more of these items because they are pros, they are specialists in this particular arena, and they can identify that information so that
absolutely.
and see other things that we're not even thinking of.
Well, and it's not even just for buyers too. A lot of times we'll recommend, especially if a house is dated, that sellers do a home inspection prior to. One, it gives them that knowledge for a couple $100 of what things that they're going to expect when a buyer does a home inspection. And the reason I say that is if a seller can cut those issues off before they happen, and let's just say it is a roof issue, or let's just say there's a minor electrical issue, before the buyer goes in with his inspector, if a seller has done an inspection, they can get that taken care of prior to, probably
Which
a lot
can make
cheaper.
them more money.
A lot cheaper usually, because buyers tend to look for deeper discounts because now they have to put up with that issue
And fix it
and go through the whole
else,
thing.
and it's such a
Right.
chore.
Absolutely. And so a lot of times it's easier for a seller because now, one, they can say, hey, look, here's all the issues that we found. The seller can now make a checklist for themselves and say, look, we're going to fix this, this, and this, and this. We know this is still an issue, but we're going to let the buyer know and disclose that to the buyer, and they can make a decision based on that, or we can work it into the price or something like that. I mean, it always is beneficial on both ends, to have an inspection, one for the seller, one for the buyer, because overall it makes the transaction a little bit easier because everyone knows what's going on with the property.
It makes sense.
It does, and so like Sean said, we're going to have a couple inspectors in here, and he asked me why we have a couple. Well, just for that same reason, everyone's going to have a little bit of perspective differences. If I can't get one of my top guys in there today, I can get my next top guy in there tomorrow, because right now with the way the market is, there's so much buying going on. Excuse me. These guys are going crazy right now. Home inspectors are a hard bunch to get a hold of. I just called one of the guys that I use a lot, who does home inspections, last week, and we talked to him on Thursday. Earliest he could get us in was Wednesday. Now, this is a guy I do a lot of business with. This is a guy who I have his personal home number that I see on a regular basis. So favors are huge, and he couldn't get me until Wednesday. And so you can see that we're selling a lot of properties, and they're very, very busy right now.
Which makes sense. I mean,
it does
make sense. And we'll have a couple different insurance guys in, some in different specialties, whether it be commercial, whether it be residential, or even personal for that matter.
Absolutely.
Because they all have different arenas of specialization, so we want to make sure we get all the information to you.
Well, and speaking of insurance guys, yesterday we had an insurance guy, different type of insurance guy, in our office yesterday. Named Kevin.
Everybody is in your office.
Yeah, we have everybody coming through our office all the time. They either want something from us or we want something from them, one of the two. But the reason I mention it is Kevin, really great guy. He sells health insurance, he sells life insurance and all that. But the reason I mention it is he sells whole life policies. And what's neat about those, and we were doing some other stuff, but you can borrow against those, to purchase real estate. And I don't know if anyone out there is either thinking of it or has one, but he's an interesting guy to talk to about what you could potentially do with your insurance policies, because some of them are assets that you can borrow against the death values to purchase real estate.
More of that creative financing.
It definitely is, and it's cheap money. So we're going to talk a little bit more about, pretty much everything when we come back.
Exactly.
So don't forget to check us out on the website, www.azrealestateradio.com, or give us a call at 602-999-1912, and we'll see you in a few.